I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up education. University of Houston system trims LGBTQ curriculum to comply with Texas law. The school's Board of Regents unanimously approved a sweeping proposal removing 133 courses, about 40% of the flagship campus's core curriculum, from the list of classes that fulfill general education graduation requirements. The extensive curriculum overhaul was initiated to comply with a 2025 state law mandating that general education core courses at public universities focus strictly on foundational subjects and prepare students for workforce and civic life. As a result of the board's vote, new undergraduate students can no longer take classes such as Introduction to LGBT Studies, Introduction to Women's Studies, or Intro to Global Climate Change to satisfy their core requirement. University officials emphasize that the removal of these classes from the core framework does not mean they are banned or canceled outright. Rather, departments may still offer them as general electives or major requirements. Addressing the board prior to the decision, Vice Chancellor of Legal Affairs, Donna Cornell, says university faculty assisted in evaluating courses for adherence to the Texas law. Student leaders and faculty advocates voiced strong concern during public comments, warning that stripping diversity and specialized topic courses from the core could negatively alter the university's inclusive academic identity. And that's for sure. You know, this is how erasure happens without ever banning a class. You simply decide our history and our lives aren't foundational enough to count. LGBTQ studies may still exist at Houston, but pushing it out of the core sends a message about whose stories they think matter and whose stories they think don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Bold prediction right here.
Here we go.
2 years from now, the courses will just be dropped altogether, either through ideological pressure from the Republican fascists or a lack of enrollment. Because if you don't have to take a course,
you're not going to pay for it. Why would you pay for that course?
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's my sad prediction for 2 years from now.
And I think that you're right on the money. Edward, anything?
Well, it's just that it's really sad to see that, you know, it's not really getting any better in terms of education in Texas, you know, for that. But, you know, I think about our state in terms of Florida and like what could possibly happen. And we're starting to see things like this here too. So, you know, it's really more important now that we're in the, you know, coming up toward an election year, you know, that we've got to get out there to the polls and vote to make these type of changes, because now they're coming after our education now.
Well, and Florida, you know, whatever Texas does, Florida does, and whatever Florida does, Texas does. That's how it is. Abbott loves him some Florida, you know. Kevin, I'm interested in knowing how you feel. Today, we've got a lot of stories from your home
I know,
state,
right? Why are they not my stories to present?
Because we need your commentary.
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, they say Austin, where I'm from, Austin's this little blue dot in the big red state. And it's really true. You see it on T-shirts, a little, you know, red state and a blue dot. But, and I also went to nursing school many years ago in Houston for 5 years. And, you know, it doesn't surprise me. The education system, for as long as I can remember, my gosh, I'm 56. So that goes back, you know, even the last, 50 years of me being in the system. It was never inclusive. It was never about diversity. It was only about the whitewashed educational, religio-political presentation of information. They didn't really necessarily want to acknowledge even some of the wars in history that were between Mexico and in America, Mexico and Texas, and the Alamo and all that kind of stuff. So there was a lot of things that we dealt with in some of the school systems where one semester it was there, the next semester, it was not.
Wow.
And you switch school systems or districts and it's presented there, or it might not be presented there. So it just depends where you're sent, because there's different, I don't fully understand the educational system of supervisory boards and committees and whatever all that is, but I know that their vote matters as far as what the children are going to be learning in the school systems.
Yeah.
And so it goes all the way down to the books that the kids have. And so does it mention LGBT? Does it mention Hispanic Americans? Does it the immigrants? What does it mention? And so that's decided by these supervising boards. So it's a really scary, it doesn't surprise me one bit. And I think you're exactly right, John. That's exactly probably where it's going to head, because if it's not, think about it, if students aren't going to the class, the teachers aren't necessarily going to have an interest in continuing that education.
Right.
And I don't know if there's quotas as far as students that have to attend a class for it to repeat itself, but
Something like
nothing,
Something like
nothing
that, yeah.
surprises me that it conveniently gets just shoved off the table.
And I think that's the intention, isn't it? I mean, that's the
Quietly
whole
and
intent.
conveniently.
Quietly and conveniently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.